Hey there, comic fans. I figured I'd make a video looking through this book, which I got out of the library. Marvel Comics, 75 years of cover art. And I'll start off by telling you, I was a little disappointed with it. Not in the cover art itself. Of course, the 75 years of cover art is going to be good. This is Marvel Comics #1 cover art. But by the overall design of the book, just didn't show off the cover art very well. Came out in 2014. So it was cover art from the very beginning. 75 years of cover art until 2014. There's a nice shot of David Aja's Hawkeye. And you know, these ages are always weird. The Golden Age, what's that, 38 to 50, it's 18 years. Silver Age, 56 to 70, what, 14 years. Bronze Age, 16 years. And then the Modern Age, which is up to like, what, 33 years now? So it's kind of like, how can a comic that came up in 1986, a 33-year-old comic, be modern? That would be like the comics I bought when I was a kid in 1970, 78. Comics from the 50s being considered modern. It's just absurd. But that's the way it's done. Forward by Adi Granov. Oh yeah, Marvel Comics are great. Here's a good example of the design, which doesn't do much for me. This is basic. It's called what is it? Deconstructionist design. That's where you take things and blow them up, basically. And it's design 101 stuff. It's easy to do. It's done because it's cheap too. I mean, that's some nice art to look at there. But oh well. Here we go. Early. And there's not a lot of Golden Age stuff, but there is some. But here's what I don't like about the design: half that page is white, and the comic covers are smaller than you'd see them on a comic. I mean, when they give us the big one, that's nice and impactful right there. Even that still could have been bigger, I think. But yeah, you can barely see these little tiny covers. But here is they give. I like they give you a little information about what's going on. Marvel Comics #1. What's weird too is they don't credit inkers. Even later on, when the inkers are Alex Schomburg, Jack Kirby. But I'll show you. Except for one, it was really weird. There's more of that deconstructionist design. We get a big shot of that Captain America there, which is fine, but not exactly. Here we go. Here's 4 all winners. Look at it. We get 4. They're just so tiny. I mean, these covers they're half the size they were printed at as a comic book. So it's kind of like, you really can't see anything. See, look at that. When they printed big, Millie the Model, boom, nice and. I didn't realize Mike Sekowsky drew Millie the Model #1 cover. Some stuff I did. I know Mike Sekowsky. I know from his DC stuff in like the '60s. His Justice League and things like that. But yeah, I like the early stuff. Even here, it's like, once again, real small, tiny stuff. And then we're out. We're done. Page 18, page 19, we're done with this Golden Age. That's not a lot of covers from the Golden Age. Of course, we're on to the Silver Age. More of this. Look at these are nice. Boom, boom, full-size covers. I like them. Early Avengers. Tiny little covers. Boring design. Boy, how to take a comic book cover and make it boring. Shrink it down. Boom, nice big Steranko cover. Like it. Impact. Then little tiny covers. Yawn. I mean, I understand this is the shape of the book and they wanted to fit 2 covers in, but it's just disappointing. Who wants to look at the covers this size? When you got this giant book, who wants to look at the covers this size? Hulk, is he man or monster? Once again, looking at him this size is great. Vibrant color, but look, tiny, tiny little covers. I don't get it. I don't get why you make a big coffee table book and put tiny little covers in it. It just makes no sense to me. Look at it. Two big covers, a nice Steranko, Tales of Suspense, and then some small little covers. big Fantastic Four #1, and then small little covers. So it's like it's not even worth looking at the small little covers. Just may as well stick to the big ones. A couple of nice fantastic, and these ones aren't even as big as this one because they want to give us that information. It's like, why do you have to format it so that information is as tall as possible? What is that about? You could have bumped that down to half that size and blown up the cover more. The design on this makes no sense to me. The design on this kind of ruins it for me. There's some more deconstructionists. Once again, they're just blowing up cover. You get to see a piece of it. You know, it's not bad when the art is this good. That sort of deconstructionist design isn't terrible, but it's still not my favorite. There's like no imagination in this design. It's a nice Steranko cover. Like, do you want to look at Steranko covers 6 inches tall? I don't. If you printed this whole big hardcover book at like comic book size and printed the covers full size, it would have been better. Let's skip through to show you some of. They give it a little bit of, you know. This is the featured artist pages. There goes some Steve Ditko there, and of course not the Spider-Man annual cover. His original art from Amazing Fantasy 15. There we go. There's a nice full look how much impact that has. Look how little impact this has. It's just amazing to me. Let me see if I can show you there's some more nice Steranko. Once again, these ones are even smaller because they put that paragraph down the bottom. There's a nice full size of that Spider-Man No More. Then we get to the Bronze Age. It's again the same sort of, you know, design doesn't. Here's what I wanted to show you. Oh no, pardon me, we're not there yet. I thought it was John Byrne. Yeah, look at that. If they printed them, I would have taken a lesser number of covers, them all this size. Then the book would have been good. But these covers are useless. Here's, you know, I love John Buscema, Sal Buscema page. That's a nice idea. We get some original art from both of them. I don't know why you would waste. I mean, that's a fine cover, but who cares about Avengers 201? That's hardly a classic cover there. Jarvis takes over. I always liked that cover a lot. Oh, that's it too. Artist Gil Kane, artist John Romita Sr. It doesn't tell you who the inker is for some reason. Even here, you know, artist John Byrne. Even when Joe Rubenstein clearly signed it down there, they only tell you artist John Byrne. I don't know what that's about. Defenders 4. Look at even just flipping through this, I have to stop and look at this one right here. Why? Because it's that size. These were really nice covers. Too bad they're 6 inches tall. There's the John Byrne one. I'll laugh when I get to that. Give us those two covers, smaller than they could be. Let's just flip there. Demon in a Bottle cover, big. Let's look at the big covers. Devil Dinosaur #1. Nice cover there to look at. Thor 337, real tiny. There's a nice Walt Simonson cover, look, deconstructionist design. More John Byrne stuff, real tiny. Here we go. Here's the John Byrne Spotlight page. And let's take a look at X-Men 142. What does it say about that? This shocking cover showing Wolverine being killed by a Sentinel from Days of Future Past displays Byrne's skill as a master of layout. This brutal but eye-catching image of futuristic version of Wolverine and Storm. What's the only problem with that? Whose signature is on this cover? Yeah, this is a Terry Austin cover. John Byrne didn't pencil this cover. Terry Austin did. Terry Austin penciled and inked this cover, not John Byrne. So they have it in the John Byrne section telling us how great John Byrne's layouts are, and John Byrne didn't do this cover. That just amused me to no end when I saw that. What else do we got here? Some Mobius Silver Surfer. Some George Perez thing. So again, when the cover, even this size, the covers still look nice, even when they're not exactly full size. Let's see what others. Oh, nice first Elektra. Good cover there. Luke Cage, Hero for Hire. See, deconstructionist design works when you've got this much art to choose from. I mean, that page, even though we only get to see a tiny bit of this cover, it works because Blade's over there, Dracula's over there. It works as a design, but I'm not always a fan of this type of design. Oh, nice Adventures into Fear cover. Marvel 10th Anniversary cover in the box. Same with Ghost Rider. Rampaging Hulk, smaller than it should be. Star-Lord. Ah, nice Jim Starlin cover over here. Whoops, Warlock. Dig that cover. Can barely see those ones. Where did this appear? This man called... Was it in the Art of Marvel? Because see how they have the layout here, the layout... This appeared in some Marvel art book. I know it. I've seen it before. I can't remember what. May have been How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way or something, but I've seen these layouts before. But nice cover. At least this you can see Machine Man being built on these covers rather than flip right through this part because who cares about the tiny covers? More tiny covers. Boom, nice big cover. John Romita Sr. Up with the original art here for 136. Secret Wars. Mike Zeck. Not my favorite Mike Zeck cover, but a lot of people like it. Really nice Craig Russell cover over there. It says here though, what is it? Prestige from Marvel Showcase the Russell has only produced a limited amount of comic book work. He's done a lot of comic book work. He's done a limited amount for Marvel, but he's done a lot of comic book work. He's been working on his Elric stuff for a long time. New Mutants, Wolverine #1, Giant Size X-Men. Let's get the glare off that to get a good look at it. When they're produced, the size of the book. Oh, there's X-Men 101. Nice stuff. Dave Cockrum. Yeah, yes, this is the X-Men set. Once again, those ones are useless. Classic cover over there. Classic Paul Smith cover right there. What else do we look at? We still have a lot of the book to go here. I think I'm going to skip through it just because so much. I mostly like the Bronze Age stuff and the modern stuff. Yeah, then we get. I'm not a fan of the people standing around. Yeah, we're just about to get into the modern age here. I'm not a big fan of the people standing around era, which is still going to. There was like they didn't call it that, but people standing around. People standing around, people standing around, people standing around. Well, they're flying around there too. People standing around, people standing around, people facing off against each other, but they're still just standing around. Some classic. Well, there's like a whole era in here of people standing around. These are just kind of movie covers. They don't thrill me either. I like my comic book covers to be comic book covers. What I mean by that is they have to tell a story. Oh, some. You know what's weird too? Now we're into the McFarlane. I don't think there was one Liefeld cover in here. There's a McFarlane cover, another McFarlane cover, 2 Dale Keown covers on the Hulk, giant Dale Keown Hulk, more Hulk stuff, Hulk just standing there, or Hulk raging out, Hulk running and raging out. Here we go into the David Aja stuff. Once again, too small to really look at that. Look at how much more impactful that cover is right there than these 2 little ones over here. War Machine. I guess we go into the Iron Man. I think the modern section has boring Iron Man covers. Nice design, but eh. She-Hulk, eh. Now we're into Thor. I like that Arthur Adams one, nice and big. Once again, too small. Like that's a double-sized wraparound cover, all tiny there. More Fantastic Four stuff. Boring, boring, boring. That's a pretty neat one. Black Panther. Single. The modern covers are just kind of simpler. That one's conceptual, at least. You get to see. When there's a concept for four, at least you get to see all the concept at once. But other than that, they're too small to really appreciate. Marvel's covers. Wouldn't you rather look at your issues of Marvel's than this book? Why is this cover in here? I mean, it's not terrible. Is this the best Stuart Immonen cover you could find? I don't know. Ultimate, once again, this small, loses all impact of Brian Hitch. At least they put the Infinity Gauntlet famous cover big. Boras with the Civil War covers. See, I think I'm going to wrap this up because but there's a nice Joe Quesada section in here too. I like Joe Quesada does a lot with design that I enjoy. So not a huge fan of his art, but I like a lot of his covers because he thinks about the design of them a lot. You can just tell. Man Without Fear, plenty of small covers. What else do we got? Uncanny. A lot of the modern stuff, just besides it being too small, just doesn't do it for me. Guy Standing Around cover. I mean, I like John Cassidy well enough. I like Frank Whiteley well enough, but those covers don't do much for me. Classic Art Adams cover. Here's that Jim Lee X-Men one. I've seen this enough. You know what? I noticed in looking through this too, I'm not a fan of Jim Lee's covers. I never realized that before. I mean, barely seen that. That's I mean, I generally like Jim Lee's stuff okay, but his covers don't thrill me. That one's pretty neat. Who does that? It's in one of the Kuberts. Adam Kubert over there. Greg Land. I'm not a huge Greg Land fan, but he can pull off some stuff every now and then. And I like that cover right there. That one does nothing for me. That one does nothing for me. Was that another J. Scott? Not. I'm hit or miss with J. Scott Campbell. That one's a miss. I think they have some earlier ones of his Spider-Mans in here that were okay. There, I like this Spider-Man J. Scott Campbell better than the. What else? Oh, this one. I was just mentioning this on Facebook the other day. I was working at Marvel when this adjectiveless Spider-Man first came out, the McFarlane Spider-Man. The editor on the book, Jim Salicrup, wouldn't let anyone see the cover. He not only didn't send it out to for advertising. It was like no one saw this cover before it hit the stands. He wouldn't even show it around the office. So people would stop by wanting to see the cover, and he's like, nope, not even going to show it to you. So he wouldn't show it. I remember him. I thought that was a pretty neat idea. He just didn't want people to be burnt out on this cover before it came out. So no one saw this until the issue hit the stands. I thought that was a pretty interesting little tactic for Spider-Man #1. Mike Zeck cover. Tim Bradstreet cover over here. That's enough of this book. I've gone on long enough about 75 years ago. So there's my sum up is take it out of the library. I was going to give you the UPC ISBN number, but it doesn't seem to be here. Sometimes the library changes it after they put something new on. Looks like a lot of people took this out of the library. I recommend you do the same thing. I don't think this is one you want to buy and have on your shelves unless you get it dirt cheap, because it's just disappointing. There's too many covers that are shown too small. Other than that, the ones that are full size and you can see and admire, I think are really nice. I like some covers better than others, but that's the way life goes. All right then. Hope you enjoyed that look at this, and you guys all have a good week out there.